Broadcasting live from sunny South Florida, this is KMA Talk Radio. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of fine cigars. Your KMA crew, the Italian Scallion, Paul DeGracco, Alex Tavella, a.k.a. The GOAT, and always telling it like it is, Honest Abe.
I like to smoke them like the Winston Churchill, like John Kennedy, yeah. Remember Coach Red Auerbach, smoked up for victory, yeah. Well, you can take my wife, you can take my car, but you can't take my big cigar. My cigar, yeah.
Good morning to all our loyal listeners, libertarians, and lovers of the leaf. Honest Abe here. We are broadcasting KMA Talk Radio, episode number 434 here from sunny South Florida. And as always, on every fine Saturday morning, I'm here with my gang, the Italian Scallion himself, Paul DeGracco, and none other than the man they call the GOAT, Alex Tavella.
Good morning. Good morning.
Alex pushing through, feeling a little under the weather today.
A little bit, a lot bit.
Yeah, Carmine.
I was going to say.
Carmine sounded like he came home and he passed on everything to everybody.
Yeah, Carmine did the old kindergarten thing, whatever. I want to find patient A. Who's the son of a bitch that sent their sniffling, coughing, shitty, sick kid to school to get all the other kids sick? Which now I'm sick, the baby's sick, everybody's sick. Who's patient A? That's what I want to know.
Poor guy. He came in.
Your kid's home.
He came in last night. He was looking rough.
But I muscled through. That was a nice stack I handed you.
It was. We're making some progress, man. We're
close.
We are seeing light at the end of the tunnel for Operation Warehouse or Bust. So,
do you have a timeline? Like, when do you think?
Well, we actually set a hard date yesterday.
Oh, good. All right. So you have something to work towards.
It's happening regardless. There's no working towards. Yeah.
It's literally warehouse or bust at this point.
Yeah. I mean, look, with projects like this, I mean, we kind of get used to it at the Great Smoke, you get to a point where this is the date, because, you have to understand too, is our shipping area that's currently here, is coming apart because we need more workstations. We hired 2 people. We got nowhere for these guys to even work. So, we got in touch with the contractor, finally got back to us today, and we set the date where they're going to come in and gut this back room, and the next day come in and install all the workstations. So we have a hard date. So it's going to happen no matter what. So if we start getting close and you notice that we're all still working at 3 or 4 in the morning, the date's coming up. But yeah, we had this game plan where because a lot of this now, the hard labor of putting stuff away in the warehouse is pretty much done.
Easy labor.
With the stuff of that was a lot of stuff, bro.
I know, but in retrospect, that was the easy. It wasn't a lot of.
It was a lot less head labor and a lot more physical labor. But that stuff, putting those shelves apart all together was
absolutely.
But that was done, and now it's literally the manual entry of every. It's not just every new SKU or every new company we ordered. Everybody that every single item that we currently carry now has to have a designated shelf area. So there's a lot of data entry. We've all now learned how to work the back end of the website and know a little HTML, and that's really the hard part. So we've been churning with this deck, and we have a hard time doing it during the day because there's so much regular business going on. So
you're running a business still.
Yeah.
Normally.
So we sit here all day, and we actually work 2 hours on an 8-hour day, 10-hour day of actually on this stuff. So we decided Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday that the boys would come in at 5, 6 o'clock, and we work till 2 in the morning after shipping and everybody closed. So that's what we've been doing the last 3 days. But I've slept probably 8, 9 hours in the last 3 days. So gonna catch up on some sleep this weekend, but
including it too. I mean, it's been a series of calamities. I mean, Italo had a heart attack the first night, literally. I was sick the next 2.
Yeah.
Abe literally had to pass out in the office for 2 hours just to get some semblance of sleep in. 2 hours. Wake me up at 8.
I was like this. I woke up and all three of them were standing at my desk. They're like, literally, they're like, so they're dude, just take a nap. Shut the lights, take a nap. And I said, dude, don't let me sleep past 8 p.m. And sure enough, 8:30, they let me sleep. 8:30, a customer accidentally walked in my office, woke me up. Thought it was the bathroom. He walked in, goes, whoop, sorry. I'm like, oh, you're good, man. I need to wake up. But listen, I'm pretty sure that guy probably just thinks now I just sleep all day in here.
Right. This is what the guy,
I'm sure.
that hard work.
Look at this big boss back there.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that was you during the West Palm build out. You weren't sleeping towards the end there. I remember seeing you at the barber shop.
Listen to me, that's
asleep
me
in the chair.
That's me during the Great Smoke. I mean, when you make a deadline, man. Sleep becomes secondary, But these guys did a good job putting a good dent in it, and we're almost home. So I really think that we got a good hard date. I think we're gonna make it. I know we're gonna make it, and it's gonna be. Tim, if they had a Slim Jim, they probably would have. But no, we're excited about it, man. I think it's gonna change the way we do business with our patrons all over the country. So I'm very, very excited about it. Now first off, I have to ask, because every week it's part of the story. What's with the background? Zoom in on his background. Let's see it. Alex, yeah. Blow it up, Paul. Put a big screen.
So today we are at Villa di Roma restaurant in South Philadelphia, kind of at the tail end of the Italian Market, 9th Street. I know, I think it was Craig just asked me if it was Ralph's. This was not Ralph's. Villa di Roma was also featured in The Irishman, the awful mob movie that came out a couple years ago.
You didn't like it?
Awful. Awful to me.
Maybe it was just COVID, but I think all shows looked good to me during COVID.
True. It was.
I didn't hate it, but it's one of the few movies that I didn't finish watching because I was like, eh.
Well, because it was fucking 8 hours long. Of course you didn't finish watching it.
What else you were doing? It was COVID. You're such a quitter.
Listen, I didn't like The Irishman. It was a little close to home, so I was. And those guys are old. Fucking Robert De Niro is old. Al Pacino is old. Those guys are old, man.
Listen, let me tell you something. I saw Robert De Niro a couple times in person when I worked at Tiffany & Company on 5th Avenue. The guy is an awkward MFer. Like, he is strange, awkward, frail. Like, he walks around like he doesn't talk to any of the sales associates. I was helping him and his wife at the time, and he never spoke to me, never said one word. His assistant, who was this flamboyant, like, well, Mr. De Niro would like, never spoke to him once. His wife came back in and came to me. She asked for me, and she bought him cufflinks that we engraved with his kids' initials on them. But he is a strange dude, man. Like, nothing, at least the little bit of interaction I had with him, nothing like what you see on screen. But I guess that means he's a good actor. You're muted, Abe. Yeah, it shows he's muted. I can't unmute you because you muted yourself.
There you go. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I think being awkward or strange or eccentric just goes hand in hand with being in Hollywood, I guess.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Listen, Al Pacino, same thing. I mean, that guy would realistically, he'd rather be playing fucking King Richard than Michael Corleone or all that other shit. These guys are like thespians and artsy fartsy fucks.
He did it, right? Didn't he do? He did some show on Broadway
and produced it himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was cool to be able to help him, but he was weird. But he is old, man. It's strange growing up with him, watching the movie, seeing like an old man now. But he's definitely an old man. Yeah,
The Irishman was like the decrepit gangster movie.
The Metamucil mob.
Yeah, seriously.
The Metamucil mob
does a lot for his community, though.
Paul, you're in Georgia?
Yeah.
I'm in Georgia.
Did you stop at Disney? Was that like you went to Disney World and then just kept going, or?
No, my sister-in-law had her baby early, so my wife wanted to come up and help, and we weren't going to stay at their place, so we were on Jekyll Island, just about 10 minutes away from them. And,
So you
got
you bought
a nice
your
hotel.
two babies. You bought your two babies over there with her babies to help her with her baby and your two babies.
No. They're here. They're here at the hotel with us.
Uh,
But my wife's been over there every day. I've been working. Actually, I got to be honest. We lucked out because with COVID, we're just racking points in like crazy, and I'm not using them for flights. Usually, we use our points for flights. So I was like, you know what? I mean, we're not in like a fancy hotel or anything. It's a home two suites, but it's huge and it has an office and it has a separate bedroom and it's like an apartment for us. So we've been chilling here on points. So we'll leave. I don't know if we leave Sunday or Monday, something like that. We'll be here for like 5 or 6 days. But yeah, it's nice.
Sure.
Listen, man, I'm sitting with an ocean view watching, doing KMA. Not bad. What did he say?
You see the guest
Asher
appearance?
came strolling in. And strolling.
It was my son's birthday this week, so he wanted a crab boil for dinner.
Oh, that's my boy right there.
Yeah, so I bought him with me today. We're gonna go buy some seafood and stuff after work. So he just strolled in behind the camera. We was gonna invite Alex and the gang, but we don't want your germs around the house.
I just said no.
Seriously, I was like, man, I was talking to my wife this morning. I said, I want to tell him to come over because Alex's son Carmine and Ash are like best friends. I'm like, I want to invite him, and man, but they're like germ infested right now.
Nah, yeah, we just stayed home. They were FaceTiming the other day with him on his birthday.
How much does everybody freak out now when your kid has a sniffle, though? Right? It's like kids can't get a sniffle. Everybody's like, did they have a COVID test?
Listen to me, I don't freak out. I mean, Alex, wasn't feeling well, but he's already had COVID and whatnot. People just
recently, not that long ago.
People just forget. People get sick. It's not like every other illness in the world disappeared, and the only one that exists is COVID. So,
Oh, we had it too. It went through our house. All the kids in his class, in Axel's little preschool class, all were sick the same 2 days, and half of them got tested for COVID, and they didn't have it. So we were like, yeah, we're not testing him then. He's good. But it went through our family too.
I mean, there's definitive signs, if you lose your taste or smell or your fever, but otherwise there are just still colds out there. They're still happening.
But still, leave your fucking kids home if they're sick.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing. I mean,
Cold.
Then you got to watch them.
Leave them home.
Then you got to watch them, man. Then it's a whole thing. And you like that.
Right. And
you know what?
A few hours a day.
You know what, Paul? Sadly, that's where you're on point. They would 100%. rather send their kid to school ill than have to worry about watching them or sending them to daycare, whatever. They would just
figuring out
to daycare.
Yeah.
Then they'd rather send them to school.
They don't care about other kids.
No.
That's what's really bad.
Yeah.
What else we got going on this week? Anything else?
Silence.
Well, how was last night, man, with the Ruffians?
Let me tell you
you
something.
did an event, right?
Yeah. So, look, we've been putting in long hours, and look, we've gotten such cool things. I made a post yesterday on Facebook. Somebody, I'm hearing feedback from my own voice through one of your guys's thing, I think. Oh, there he goes.
It's probably Alex.
Alex is not in the same room. But
because he has his speaker on.
Why are you getting? Do you hear feedback, Paul?
Yeah.
From me?
Yeah, I think so.
When we talk, we hear our own voice. I just picked it up now.
What about now?
Well, I gotta say something. No, I don't hear it anymore. So last night. Well, first off, we all been putting in late hours, and I made a post yesterday. We have like really the best patrons in the world. I mean, we got this huge care basket from one of our socialites, Kevin Corblas, and it was huge. I posted a picture of it in the Smoking Social page. It was monstrous.
I saw it.
And they're just thanking us for our hard work, and we love doing it because we got fans and customers like this, and that's what makes it worth it, because we got such awesome people who appreciate it, and that makes us love doing it. I mean, no one loves slaving away hours, but it just makes it all worth it. So big thanks to Kevin and all the other guys out there who are constantly showing their love and thanks and support. But we've been here the last 3 nights, so I ended up having the Ruffians, which are really a national group. They got chapters all over the place, big group. And Mitch Rockwell, who's the president of the chapter down here, they do this annual HERF, and they normally do it at another cigar shop. And I just found this out last night that I have appeared on their weekly HERF more than any other person in the cigar industry. So
Your shop, you mean?
No, me personally as a guest. I've been on their thing. So they're talking about, like last night, like if we make it a 5th time, they're going to give me a jacket like they do on Saturday Night Live when you've been on the show 5 times. So I got to know the guys really, really good. And this year they made, instead of just doing a 1-day event, they made it a 2-day, and they did it at our store in Port St. Lucie. And all these guys I've gotten to know in the last year and a half, who I've only met in like square pictures about that big, got to meet in person, which was very, very cool. And they came from all over the country. I mean, they really did. New York, Texas, a couple other states I can't remember right now. But first off, it's an hour drive from here. I had worked all day on 6 hours sleep over 2 days. I had to call Brandy because I was really dozing off, but trying to get there. But by the time I got there, they were lively. They were a great group. We had a really, really good time with the Ruffians, and I'm looking forward to doing it again next year. I hope they do it again next year. But it's always cool when you get to know people, like Tom and Michelle, in Alaska, where you get to know them on social media and then you finally meet them face to face. So
you're coming soon, right?
Yeah, October or bust, around the corner, sneaking up on us.
Yeah,
I gotta come out there to meet them for sure.
Well, just put in your time off request with Stephanie now, so
Put in your time off request with Mickey now.
Yeah, with Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
I don't think there'll be any Disney in October.
Maybe towards
the end.
We had a good event last night with the Ruffians. It was actually a really, really good time. It was nice. And then I drove back here after the event. These guys were churning away. They got a lot of work done. I started working for a while, and then, everybody started hitting the wall at about 1 o'clock. We called it a night, maybe.
Oh, wow.
There's only so much time you could look at numbers on a screen, and
right.
Your eyes.
When
When
you close your eyes at night, do you see the back end of XCart?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I close my eyes, I see the back end of the software.
Oh my god.
No, it's brutal.
But it'll be over soon. Yeah, we've been here before. I think every store, West Palm, Boynton, it's always like this. We'll get through it, and it's gonna be badass. We're very, very, very excited about it. So. Big thing.
That's awesome, man. I'm excited. Yeah. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, Ed Galinsky.
Maybe I won't be allowed there.
Ed Galinsky was there, and I got a Fast Eddie sticker. Dude, I got a whole bunch of stickers. I got this thing you're not gonna be able to see through this humidor. Very soon. But no, it was a good time. It was a really good time. It was great to hang out with the boys, but it's gonna be that time. Let's see here. Well, I guess we should just jump on and meet your maker, see what's going on. First time guest. I love when we have first time guests on here.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell.
It's time to meet your maker.
Joining us today, a true boutique cigar company. Tarazona creates premium long leaf handmade cigars, each rolled to the highest quality by masterful rollers. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time on KMA, Eddie Tarazona of Tarazona Cigars. Welcome, Eddie.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
What's up?
How's it going? Not much.
I had the pleasure of literally meeting Eddie. I mean, formally meeting. I mean, we may have run into each other. I don't recall, but I think I had the pleasure of formally meeting him. Poolside.
Yeah.
Poolside at the
everybody's families and all that. Yep.
At the Venetian Hotel. Yeah, we had a big group, and he was there with his partner and their wives and their kids, and we actually hung out by the pool. I can't say I remember too much of that conversation because I was double fisting pina coladas at the time.
Everybody was.
The pool bar closes like at 5 o'clock, or who closes a pool bar at 5 in the afternoon? They want you to go in
Vegas.
Yeah. So literally, like we had them all lined up at the edge of the pool. I just double fisting like 3 rounds.
And that waitress, she kept on showing up. She was great. She was awesome.
That's
It's just
that's
that
what that's what $100 tip will do.
yep. she made off good.
Yeah, I give her $100. Well, first they wouldn't let us rent the cabanas, and they had the baby, so they needed a place for we wanted to rent one of those poolside cabanas. They're all empty. They're all empty. Look, we got kids. You guys got kids. We just want a place in the shade we could put our stuff down, whatever. So I literally, girls walking by, I gave her $100. I said, "Listen, we're just gonna put our stuff in here. They got a baby, whatever, and just keep coming." We bar closed at 5, and that girl hooked us up. She kept coming round, and I got pretty sloshed in that hour and a half.
Wow.
But that clubhouse that was right in front of us, we were all talking as it went on, as the day went on. We're like, can you imagine what we could do with that right there?
I know. I know. But yeah, I mean, who get after a certain time, they just won't do it. And they close it at 5. I mean, why? I mean, they want you to go inside and start gambling. That's what it is. They don't want people hanging out poolside.
Right.
So,
they want the free money, not money they got to give you goods for.
Exactly. So, so being that I probably got drunk and can't remember half the conversation we had, this is like doing it for the first time all over again.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Eddie, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. I mean, what did you do?
Right.
And and how did you end up getting in this lovely business that we call the cigar industry?
Well, from Miami, Florida, moved down there, about 4 years old, but being of Cuban descent, not like it was really going to be any different in life.
Were you born in Cuba?
No. I was born in Patterson, New Jersey.
Okay, so you moved down to Miami at 4. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I was 4 years old. We moved down, and so moved down. Of course, Miami changes shortly after that, big time. And I mean, it is what it is. It's a Miami living, but end up graduating, went off to college up at Liberty University on a full scholarship. And I really didn't want to go to Liberty at first. I wanted to go way out west. It was either University of Wisconsin or Pepperdine, because I just always wanted to get away for college. But they gave me full scholarship. My mom goes, "You're going to Liberty." And that's all right. I went, fell in love with a beautiful area in the Blue Ridge Mountains. And it was exactly what I wanted in a college, just an enclosed campus. My brother went to George Washington University, and I just hated the way the college and city, it's just blended. So I ended up graduating from college. I get a great job. My brother found this advertisement for Ferguson Enterprises and the paper. They're hiring management training programs. Good thing is they're headquartered out in Newport News. They're North American headquarters. They're a huge multinational company under Wolseley. I get the job. I go to the interview, get the job, making about what? Right out of college, about $85,000 and benefits and everything else.
Wow.
So it was a good life. Until about 6 months later, recession hits. They come to me and say, "Hey, look, we don't want to get rid of you. You're bilingual." Because they have a lot of places in small towns too, where a lot of the contractors or that they hire subcontractors, they speak Spanish. So they go, "We would like for you to move to North Cocoa." I'm like, I'm done. Lynchburg was already small enough for me. Coming from Miami, I really wanted to go back home because they had a huge utilities division in Pompano Beach, which I'm like, great. Back home, Miami. They go, "No, we want you to go to North Cocoa Beach." And all I'm thinking about North Cocoa Beach is a smaller town than Lynchburg, Virginia. So that was already pushing it. And retirees. I'm going to fit in just great. And I told them, "Hey, look, let me reach out to the because at the time with the recession, I love the way and in 6 months, I learned a lot about business. I loved how they operated. Their local what they would call a franchise, though still part of the company, not a real franchise. The managers, the GMs, they called vice presidents or president of that location. There was a lot of autonomy. They would teach their management, and that's the program I was in, to, be proactive, really almost make decisions on your own. Of course, in this case, for me, chain of command. So I went to managers of the San Juan location, which was also utilities, and the Pompano. And understand the reason I wanted to get in utilities, the money. You gotta understand things. The city's buying all that, and a lot of that had to do with your pay, commission on top of whatever money you're making. So that's a lot. But anyway, they both said no because they couldn't. Well, the recession, and I ended up getting back with them another meeting, and they say, okay, well, you have 2 weeks to make your decision. The neat thing, they operate like a European company. You know, you have 2 weeks. I put in my 2 weeks that next day. So I had 2 weeks of vacation. Then I had the 2 weeks to make my decision. And then they did offer me an 8-month severance package at almost the same thing I was already making. Okay. Roughly about 80%. I realized at that point, I didn't want to work for anybody else. Actually going to college, I either want to do one or two things. Cigars was third, but a distant third.
So you actually thought about, you actually thought about cigars? Yeah. Really? Okay.
I was 15 years old when so the first thing I ever wanted to do, and I as far as I can remember, I was 12 years old. I wanted to go to law school or be a legislator. But I love getting around rules. Now, and legally. So my parents were uberly strict. I mean, just big time strict. And in our home, it wasn't the only way you could get away with an ass whooping. I mean, a real ass whooping. I mean, because they didn't hold back. Make your case. Make your case. And this was how it was every day, every night. And if you could make a strong case, the only strong case you couldn't make was for your grades. A C, that was death. I mean, forget it. My dad, I would hide under the bed.
I was at the end of that argument a couple times in my life. Yeah.
I had to bring home progress report. Seized these. I said I lost it. Well, guess what? I got the hell beat out of me for losing it, and I still have to bring a progress report home with the bad grades. So, well, I never lost it again. I said, just it is what it is.
Yep.
But 12 years old, law or legislature, some in politics. But I didn't want to be just like not like a career politician, lobbying, a real job, because I always thought that even that young, I was always surrounded around business. Even though we didn't grow up with much, but like my granddad, he had a successful company, and I loved the way it operated. And politicians, I can't believe What did your granddad do? He made fire doors from scratch.
Oh,
metal fire doors from scratch, and especially down in South Florida, well, all over the country, but South Florida, he was crushing it because of we have the salt there and all that, and doors corrode. So he'd make the doors, and especially for the whether it's an engine room or HVAC rooms, he'd make the louvers from scratch. Everything, they have to be fire graded. So I started working with him around 12, 13 years old, around this heavy machinery, which now I think about, I'm like, what what were my parents thinking? Just let us work there. But my brother before me, my brother probably even started before that. But I learned a lot about business and about just being direct. Being direct, what you say is what you say. Just get it done. Don't sugarcoat it. My granddad was like that old school Navy guy, World War II, Korean War. And but I lost, so I ended up losing the job. Well, getting laid off. And what do I do? And I started thinking, I mean, seriously. And now I have a family. If I didn't want to go back to school, I really did not. And I also have to pay for school and law school. That was going to cost a bit. Then football. I love college football. Okay. And I love coaching, just teaching, which I did for a while. Okay. I taught civics. Appropriate for me.
So you thought you were going to go back to school? You're going to go teach?
No. Like for law school. Yeah. But then I ended up a friend of mine.
You threw me off with the football and the coaching.
Oh, that was the second thing I would have wanted to do as a career. College football.
Coaching college football.
Oh, love it.
I know, but how do you get a job coaching college football? Don't you guys start out coaching high school football?
No. Growing up in South Florida, guys, I mean, it really it comes down to nepotism. Okay, in that world, big time. And I had a lot of friends. And I went off to school. Okay, getting ready to play football, but I got kicked out of Liberty, so probably about 3 times.
Oh, wow.
Liberty University.
They don't. They don't play with the rules there.
No, I ended up losing my scholarship, but the reason I kept on going back, quit. You can't quit. That was just ingrained in me. And I know people say, just go back home, go to Miami-Dade, get you 2 years. And no, I just had to. And one day, I got.
Did I miss this? Did you say you had a scholarship?
Yeah.
For?
Nothing. The guy for.
I didn't know if maybe you played football or not.
No. So I got in to walk on, made it and all. But then my grades, I get called to the I would call him a comptroller, but really that's what they were calling it at the time for NCAA. And he goes, Eddie, I'm sorry, you can't be on the team. I'm like, why? Your grades. I'm like, who cares about grades? But I'll be honest with you, I was not ready for college. That structured system. In a way,
So now you get laid off. What do you do next? So now you have this severance package that'll last you for a little bit. Do you just automatically say like the crazy idea, like, oh, what the hell? I'll just start a cigar company. Because
I knew I'd be in control of it. Yes.
Law school. Did you grow up around cigars? Was your father, your grandfather, were they into cigars?
No, not so much family. My dad actually was. My dad lost it. He said, "Oye, papi, I'm gonna start a cigar company." And he went off in Spanish. You went off to college. You did this. You're smart. I'm like thinking, I promise you. And I told him this. And not a promise like, Dad, I promise you that. No, I said, trust me. You trust me? And that look like. And I go, I promise you, if this isn't paying out, I'll go to law school. I mean, I didn't have a problem with it because I have to do something at that point after. I mean, if it doesn't work out. And it took a while so that I could start putting food on the table, but it panned out, and I love it today. I'll just that little story right there between my dad and I. He's like one of my biggest fans, sharing it. Oh yeah, and all his kids. My dad is I think my father is a 1,000 times better dad today than he was us growing up, and not instructional. He taught us so much, but I think the patience level he had was wasn't there today.
So what year do you actually start the company?
The idea and start getting everything started was in 2001, and we started rolling out summer of 2002. Okay. The reason I got into it, and the reason cigars was third. When I was 15 years old, my brother comes home from college. Now, remember, so of course we're in Miami, 8th Street, El Credit. My brother's going down to Miami. He wouldn't just go into a shop and get cigars. He would go down to 8th Street and have them make, and he'd go pick them up. Okay, so he starts going to El Credito, where a few folk that you go make it and all.
For people who don't know what that was Ernesto Perez Carrillo's factory. Yeah.
And
that's where La Gloria Cubana was being rolled when he was still doing it all just in Miami before he opened up his Dominican factory. Was El Credito Cigars, which I find very cool because that same little factory after Ernesto sold and General acquired the brand was where El Rey de los Habanos became, which ended up being Pepin. So if you want to get in the cigar business and want to make your own cigars, I suggest you find that place and start there. Because the streak is good there.
A lot of history, and I guess I was just fortunate, coming from Miami. But this day he goes, "Hey, I'm gonna go get some cigars." So I'm thinking we're going to El Credito. No, we go to a place called South Beach Cigars, and it was there that it really hit me. This could be a career. I met this little old Cuban guy. He was one of their rollers, and really I guess the manager there with their team, with the torcedores, the rollers. Anyway, Go to shake his hand, leaving. Thanks, nice meeting you. And it was when I shook his hand. Little old guy. Now, I'm 5'4". Okay. This guy had to be all about 5'2", frail. But you shook his hand, he would have broken you in half. I mean, wow. And something behind,
kind of like Alex.
I'm a little taller than 5'2", but not much.
He was worn. And it left an impression on me. But not just that. Everything about where I was living, the times I was living, it really came to me. When I never thought about the Cuba exile Castro issue until I met that man, looking frail, worn. He couldn't have been older than 55, but you would have thought he was almost 70. And it left an impression on me. And that's when I said, I could probably do this. Well, lose a job, and that was it. I said, I'm going to use this money to go back home and just start learning. Just start learning. Okay, start traveling. And that's how it came about. So, like anything, you find a way to get in it. You have to learn. You apply yourself. Here it is. A lot of thoughts of, am I doing the right thing? A lot of times of like, man. There've been some low points, but I hate quitting. I just hate quit. That word just doesn't jive well with me. So you just got to keep on. Well, it's been fun. It's been, and I've learned I tell you, I've learned a lot of life, and I've had a lot of life. I've had a lot of experience. Otherwise, I never would have had it otherwise, I think. So here I am. So that's how Tarazona actually got started. I had to do something. And those are really my three passions in life. Okay. And being on the water. Okay. So really four. So
fishing? You like your fishing?
Politics
you
and
like
law.
fish? You like to fish in the water?
I'm the best
or?
fisher.
Oh, okay.
What, you know what? More fresh water or a little more inland. I'd like to get better going out a little bit more on the boat. Well, I'm like, okay, because I just don't always have enough time to get out there and learn, okay, especially on the boat. But you haven't learned about fishing pole. Well, on that story of the day, probably about several months ago. No, you can't buy that. Where are you gonna go? Well, I'm gonna go a little bit offshore. No, not that fishing pole. Why? That's for fresh water. Well, it doesn't matter.
So how long has the brand been around?
19 years, going on 20 years. Well, 20 years officially, but rolling cigars, I put them out 19 years, excuse me.
The Tarazona brand has been around 19 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've always been very strong, more in the southeast mid-Atlantic to Texas. Okay, and a few in the Ohio River Valley. I had never pushed South Florida. Now we do. I mean, because we don't have a choice now. But it was just always that way, and always going. I'll just go with Miami. It was always hard because everybody they knew it all. And I'm like thinking, hold up, I've been doing this for a while. I don't know it all, but everybody was always trying to know it all, and it's like an uphill battle. And I'm like, why work this hard when I know I could go to Delaware Cigars and well, Gary's not there at the time. Gary was there at the time, but Gary gives me a $17,000 order saying, "Hey, good to see you. Get out of my store." Why deal with all that? So work smarter, not harder. That's just the way I've always seen it. And
but you guys now, even despite the pandemic, I mean, there's been stories that have been released, press releases. You guys have kind of doubled down on hiring, right? Like you have. Mm-hmm. You have a senior vice president of sales and marketing, and I mean, Willie? Tell us about that. Why the expansion now? Why the push now?
Would that be Willie Morante?
Willie Morante.
Oh, there you go.
All right, and that's that's on me. There was a time. Well, I was living in Virginia at the time. Okay, well, part time, going back and forth, and I wanted to grow up until a certain point because of the responsibility. But I was sitting here at my desk, this same table here, that I use. It's a kitchen table. I use it as a desk. Okay. So not to get all philosophical and all. One of my favorite stories is the parable of in the Bible. You have the man with the 3 servants, right? He gives them money. He gives them each shekels of money, whatever it is, and the first guy goes out, multiply 5 times. The other one 2 times, and the last one, okay. What does he do with his talents? He puts it in the ground. And I'm sitting here one day, and one of the things I really can't stand is when people waste their talent. Okay, it's a pet peeve of mine. If you've got talent, you use it, you exploit, you do all you can with it, because we all have a talent. And he puts it in the ground because he was afraid to lose, okay, his master's talents. And of course, he gets scolded, the whole thing. And I'm sitting here, looking at what I'm doing, and I realized I was wasting my talents. Who am I to say how much I want to grow if you can't? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to get all
right. So you didn't want to grow the company too big because of the responsibilities involved with it.
Right.
So you had this revelation that, like, if the company's gonna grow, we should let it grow. We should flourish. We should
just let it do its
thing.
Someone
needs to explain this mentality to me, because like Skip Martin loves to exist in this universe.
I knew you were gonna bring him up. I knew you were gonna bring him up when we said that.
But because look, I was born to work. All I ever want to do is keep improving and being better at what I do. And the undeniable result of that is growth. Who in their right mind gets in their own business and says, I don't want this company to grow. I want to run it in a way that keeps it small. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't let that confuse with growth affecting the quality of your business, which happens in mistakes that a lot of business people do. So that, if growth affects the quality of how you do business, that's devastating. But I literally hear this from people. They'll say, I just wanted to keep it small. I didn't want to go. Why? Why do you get in the business? Because for me, then I just go work for somebody.
No, I'll tell you
why
what,
would you
in
get
my
business
case
for yourself and then say, I want to keep this small?
In my case, I really think part of it was, when I went up to Virginia, I got set in this mentality. Everything is really, just comfy. I can't.
Laid back.
When I moved back home full time, I started saying, man, I miss this. And then I said, screw it. You've got something here. And I guess I almost look at it if that kind of attitude, and it really, disgusts me. I'm like, you're wasting what you've got. You don't let it stop. You've been given these talents. Make 5 times, make 6 times. Like the first guy. Why be the second guy? And that's when everything started changing. And I started speaking with some friends in the industry. Willie and I have been friends for ages, very good friends. And we had talked about it. And then when he ended up leaving La Aurora and Miami, I'm like, let's do it. Because we talked about this for years. And then Ben, what was neat about Ben, I got to know Ben Rosario, who's our COO. I got to know him because every time we're in Atlanta, we stay at MJ Smith's house. He's the owner of Life and Times. And we would all just, a bunch of us just staying at the house. Okay. He's got like 3 floors. So you never knew who was at the house. Then everybody wakes up. Oh, hey, sit at the table. You want to drink? All right, let's start drinking. And we just start talking. And you guys get to really know each other. I'm like, wow, I like what he's got up in his head. And if I was going to do this, I had to bring on the right people. I just couldn't just whatever and wing it. It had to be people I knew, people I trusted. And those 2 guys, I mean, I trust them with my family. I mean, and that's God's honest truth. Willie's been there thick and thin. Okay. Ben, I've known him a little bit, not as long, but I know I could tell personal business, whatever. I could speak to him and he's straight. I mean, it's just like, he's going to tell it to me straight and we're going to have honest talk. And I appreciate that. I like just straight, honest talk.
Let me ask a question. When you're in this mindset of not growing and keeping it small, were you getting, or did it bother you, or did it annoy you, or did you, when you would see guys, I mean, you've been in the business 20 years, but when you see guys who got in the business 5 years ago, or 8 years ago, and have blown up and have grown and become extremely successful, extremely known. I mean, did you not did you not say to yourself, why isn't that us?
I'll tell you, and for me, and this is just for me, everything I've, for the most part, have done, okay, I had to fund myself, do myself. It was always scary not growing up with much. Okay, growing up in Carroll City for me, it wasn't a walk in the park. It was tough. So I always promised myself I'd never go back to Carroll City. So it's weird. I mean, I know it's weird, but I figure, you know what, taking care of my family, my responsibilities, but I guess I was just picking and choosing the responsibilities I wanted to uphold. And then one day it just hit me. I'm like, no, okay, you're either all in life or you're not. And I have to be all in. I have to be. So, and that's what changed. I remember going to my wife and I said, and I told her, and what a breath of fresh air, especially when it comes from your wife.
Did you meet her? Did you meet her at Liberty University?
No, I met my ex-wife at Liberty. I met Sophie down here at a bar New Year's Day several years ago. But I went to Sophie, and you've met Sophie. You guys
yes,
met
I have.
Sophie, or
yes,
two of y'all. And I go to her and I say, Mama, what I'm telling you guys, this is what I think we have to do, and I have to do it. I had to do it for me. First and foremost for me and the company. And she looked at me, and I swear pretty much what she said was, then what are you waiting for? I've been waiting for you to say something. And she knows me very well. But that was all I needed to hear. So never look back. It is scary at times, and you're growing. You've got to keep up with what you were talking about, Abe, about, keeping up the quality, And I think that was one of my biggest fears. But isn't it interesting? All those tribulations we go through. I don't care what it is in life. We quickly forget. Okay, but you've got to. I think we're resilient enough. We'll find a way, as long as we really don't screw the pooch. But you'll find a way. So that was it. That's how it happened, and never looked back. So the hiring and going out there and being all in, and now I have to be all in.
Well, while we're here, we got you on. Why don't you tell our fans a little bit about your lines? Now, I'm smoking the Tarazona 305.
Cool.
Right?
Yep, the 305. That was my first cigar that I had ever made.
How'd you come up with the name?
Interesting.
No, I'm kidding.
I love money.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm going to tell you, the love I have, when I went going up to Lynchburg, Virginia for college, a lot of small town folks, I mean, everybody is just really docile, really chill folk. And remember, Lynchburg is Liberty University is also an evangelical college. So I was probably, especially in 1993, I was, definitely a fish in another pond, so to speak.
Yeah, it's the evangelical college. I mean, it's the one, like the big one.
Yep, and beautiful campus too. Okay, I'll be up at homecoming in a month. Oh, that place rocks. But anyway, I always had that chip on my shoulder, so I was never able to. There was never this transition of hey, look, because I got married in college or right after college, and the whole thing or whatever, and that chip was always there because these folks. So the 305. Now, if I were to go back and do it again, I would never come not that blend because it was a Maduro. What are you thinking? But it worked for us. Okay, it was a time where people wanted more flavor, more out of the cigar, a more robust cigar. So I guess maybe it was dumb luck on my part. But that one right there that you're smoking, Abe, that's got a San Andreas wrapper with an Ecuadorian Sumatra binder and Nicaraguan filler. I'd say, depend on your palate.
That was like an intro to Stairway to Heaven to get to the cigar.
Yeah. And it was close. But people really enjoyed it. Now, I was ignorant at the time, so, still learning, where do I fit or how do I fit my blends and all. So I didn't think anything about it being a Maduro. all I cared about was it sold.
It's actually a very tasty cigar. I ain't gonna lie.
Thank you. Yeah, that one's made
So-
by Papito. So
What zip code is this one? What area code
now
is
that's
it?
not
828.
zip code. That actually has to do with
Area
government contracting. Government
Oh.
contracting.
Would it be a utility contract?
No. Well, I guess a contract to protect people and wax people off if they come after the people you're protecting or the interests you're protecting. One of my partner, my partner, Mario Caraballo. That's why it's Caraballo Cigars. He and he still does. I call him the spooky dude because with the security clearances and all that. He was telling me a story one day of when he retired. We were both in the military, and he's telling me about how when he got out, he was getting his first contract, and they offered him $828. Well, they asked him what will your per diem be, and he says $828. And I looked at him. I'm like, you lost your mind, dude. I'm not taking $828 a day from my life for anything, for anything. And it just stuck because I started thinking $828. He's traveling the world though, doing his thing, and he's still making a chunk of change, and it's stuck. And that's why on the Vitolas, on the 828, you see that all the Vitolas are named after currencies or terms of currencies from all over the world. Okay, or movies, the shekel, pocket change for the Petit Corona, a fistful of dollars after the Clint Eastwood movie FFOD. Okay, everything has a story on our line. But mind you, it's not just a story just to come up with it. They're real stories, and for me, they have to match up with cigars. I almost
And
look
you
at
have
it like you're writing a book.
Speaking of the cigars too, I mean, you do seasonal cigars too, right? Because for Halloween,
seasonals.
You have the La Bruja broomstick. Is that right?
Yep, that we just started shipping those out last week. La Bruja broomstick, and for Christmas, even though we're already shipping those out, also is the Misfit toys. And both projects, I'd always want to do like holiday stuff like this. La Bruja broomstick, I saw it I'm just driving around, and I saw a silhouette of a witch and cauldron, okay, on somebody's lawn. I ended up finding that same witch over at Lowe's. They're selling the silhouette, just the metal,
Right.
stake in the ground. And I'm like, that would be cool. Her in the center of the O of the Tarazona, cooking my bird, okay, with the eagle. I'm like, and that's why the
Now
eagle.
they both of those seasonal ones are barber poles, right?
Both of them are barber poles. One's the Habano with the Habano Maduro with a natural, and the other one is more Habano with just a little bit an accent of Candela. Okay, so the
Right, because the Halloween one is 3 wrappers, right? It's Candela, Maduro, and Connecticut. Or am I wrong?
No, it's 2. We ended up changing
Okay.
it last minute. And so now
Paul,
it's just 2.
Paul, stop asking the hard questions.
I'm sorry.
So,
Tell us about this
But there
one
you
here,
go.
the Gorilla 30. This is now
All right.
is this an extension of the 305?
It is an extension in a roundabout way. It is. So several years ago, now going on, I believe now roughly about 10 years. Well, so Logan's getting ready for the draft. Logan's my son. He's getting ready for the draft. We're down in Mobile, Alabama. I get a phone call from Caldwell. Hey, bro, I want you to come down to DR with me. No, man, I'm really busy. Family, the whole thing. This is family time is really important. I'm over here sitting down with agents, getting to know who these folks are. You're not going to screw up my son. And he goes about these words. Look, motherfucker, you're coming with me. So my mom's in the room. He goes, get your plane ticket now. My mom's in the room. I left my wallet upstairs in the hotel. I think we're in the Marriott or Sheraton, whatever. Asked my mom for her credit card. Sure. Here you go. Buy the ticket. We go down. Tony Votto's on that trip. A few other folks. And I meet the Ventura family. So Tabacalera William Ventura. And probably in the day and a half in, I looked at Robert and said, I'm in. I like this family. I really want to work with this family. They're really cool. knowledgeable, and just easygoing. Okay, I like what they're doing, and that's what happened. So that Gorilla 305, when we started, it had a different blend, and it was more estate coming from, the wrapper was coming from small little farm, Carbonel there, but he stopped making it, so we had to reblend that. Probably about now 2 years ago, and it was always a complex cigar, so trying to keep that flavor profile. We were trying to blend it, and we just couldn't do it. We just couldn't figure it out. Weber comes over from Weber Ventura, William's son, and brother of Henderson, Henderson, and also he has his line ADV, out of Ventura. He comes over, figures out the blend almost to a T, different tobaccos, but almost to a T. He made it a little bit more complex, and he figured it out. And it was removing Lee Heddle, adding Connecticut broadleaf. He explained it to me. I'm like, why didn't I think of that? And he goes, because you, because you were thinking lazy. Okay.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. Henderson's a real talented young man. I tell you what, we're very impressed with him. And, we just recently bought in his line, the ADV cigars, and we've been very impressed with him. And actually a great guy to work with. So very exciting stuff. But we got to get ready to take a break. A lot of exciting things in hour number 2 of KMA Talk Radio. Of the most exciting is season 3 of Tale of the Tape. That would be 3, Alex.
No, it's still season 2. We have one more. We have to do number 1.
I'm tired. I saw them working on the promo. That's why I was in my
we're
head.
gonna tease. We're gonna tease season 3.
Okay, we're gonna tease season 3.
But it's number 1 of
Even
season 2 today.
Yes, it's the end of season 2 of Tale of the Tape. I saw them working on the promo. That's how tired I am. I'm thinking.
Coop is shaking his head. He's like, no.
Yeah,
it's not a real teason, Coop. It's reveal. It's a reveal.
It's like saying the 17th century and it's the 1600s.
We got As the Record Spins with Avo, and of course we have man, I am really tired. The Scoop with Coop after this. Don't go anywhere. Keep it lit.
Surgeon General warning. Cigar smoking can cause cancers of the mouth and throat, even if you do not inhale. Without this rich and profound history, it only makes sense to showcase one of their popular cigars after Mr. Henry Clay. Receiving a top 10 spot in Cigar Aficionado's top 25 cigars, the Henry Clay Warhawk has top-notch construction while boasting with complex flavors. Cloaked in an Ecuadorian Connecticut shade wrapper with a Connecticut broadleaf binder and a Nicaraguan Criollo fillers, this medium to full-body smoke has flavor notes of toasted almonds, earth, and a peppery finish that pairs nicely with a lemonade. It is available in 3 sizes, Corona, Robusto, and Toro. If you're looking for a cigar that has an abundance of flavor and history, then this 95-rated Henry Clay Warhawk is the cigar for you. Surgeon General warning. Cigar smoking can cause cancers of the mouth and throat, even if you do not inhale.
Hey, babe.
Yeah?
I'm almost out of wine and I want to order some online. Where should I order from this time?
KMAWines.com, of course.
KMAWines.com? What's that?
What's that? What's that? Hold on a second. Let me show you. You see, KMA has teamed up with Bonner Fine Wines to offer KMA listeners a fantastic deal on a Malbec 3-wine sampler. You see, here is their famous Malbec grown at an altitude of 8,950 feet. 3 wines from the edge of the world. An old French Malbec variety no longer found in Europe. These 3 wines, 200 years in the making, yours, KMA listeners, for 53% off. Normally $130, but like I said, KMA listeners get 53% off. That makes it $69.99. So what do you think?
I think we should order.
I agree. And done.
Not only can this guy not make a commercial,
at least we had a good one.
I know, but he can't even rotate them. He's played on the same commercial.
You get mad when I rotate.
3 weeks in a row.
I was gonna play my shower scene, but
no,
the original.
You had plenty of commercials. Pick one of your rubber ducky ones or the bedtime one,
rubber ducky,
or anything.
You're the one.
He really is the one, man. What is the matter with you?
I don't know, but at this point, it's kind of like I don't know.
Are you just
I'm
are you reveling in the patheticness that you don't want to rise to the occasion? You just want to stay and keep the joke going about how sad
as
it
the producer, it actually makes for a conversation in the show. I think it gives us something to talk about. People go into the break and they're like, "Let's see what this asshole does this week." And
That's the case. That's the case you're holding on to. That's the case you're making.
Sure.
Hey, can you dance over there off the camera? Thank you. I see his shoulder
You got
in the
visitors
background.
today?
Yeah, I got Asher. I see his shoulder in the background. He's back there doing this shit.
I saw Petra for a second, like pop into your desk to grab something and pop back out.
Yes.
Hey, wait! I want to just bring something up while we're talking about her, and then we'll get to Avo. How is the guitar that our friend Alan Goldfarb gifted to her?
Paul has a question for you. Would you like to come on the radio?
Me?
Yes. Oh. Yeah, put the headset on. She's doing her math homework.
Algebra.
Ah.
Hi.
First of all, I love your shirt. That's
thank
awesome.
you. Thank you.
Second of all, so when we were driving back from Tampa and Alan told your dad about the guitar and he said he was going to give you a Fender Stratocaster, we all looked, I lost it. I was so excited. How is the guitar?
It's really good when I get to play it.
Are you learning it? Like, is it a challenge?
I'm learning it. It's not, I mean, it's a slight challenge, but not really anything too drastic.
She was playing Nirvana. Like that
really?
Day. Yeah, she was teaching me Nirvana that day.
Yeah, it was actually going really good. I just have to learn like the chords because I know how they're supposed to sound. I just have to learn like the placement for the guitar because I learned chords on the piano, but now I just need to know like the fingering for them. But it's going really good. I just don't get to play it as much as I'd like to because I still have to practice violin for Dreyfus and then homework and like practice. So I don't have like much time, but when I do have the time, it's really good. So I'm excited.
All right. Well, good to hear. I was excited for you. That was awesome.
Thank you.
It's a perfect guitar to start with.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like I like the way, like it just, I don't know. It's a nice thing to add to my
portfolio.
Yeah,
to your collection, your portfolio.
My collection of musical interests. So.
All right. Well,
people watching this?
Yeah, people are watching.
Oh, I thought.
All right,
we
go
were
do
like...
your math.
Okay.
Go do your math homework.
Thank you. Okay.
She was actually teaching me Nirvana the other day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's pretty amazing. In fact,
she knows the notes for the chords. She just has to learn the fingering on the guitar because it's a completely it might be more similar to the violin, but not the same at all.
Some of the movement of the fingers is, I mean, that's a little bit easier for her. I was already talking with Alan Goldfarb. I'm going to see if we can maybe plan something where she does a little guitar at the Great Smoke on the virtual side.
That was my next question.
Yeah. See awesome. If she breaks out in the guitar. So they're working on it. So that should be fun.
Good for her. Good for her. Oh, Eddie's still here. Sorry, I forgot you, Eddie. I didn't mean to not put you in.
That's okay. That's all
what
right.
A producer.
Well,
Eddie, we have a segment called As the Record Spins. It's by our good friends over at Avo Cigars, and our good friend Eddie Guerra has a question specifically just for you this week. All right, here we go, Eddie. This is what our friend Eddie Guerra wanted to ask you. If you had one car that you had to drive for the rest of your life, and money wasn't an object problem, what car would it be and why?
Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. That's it.
Really?
Always. Till the
That's
day I die.
Any car you could have.
Any car. Of course, I'd get the V8 now, but that's a different story.
Of course.
I'll tell you why. So remember, I told you where I grew up, didn't have much and all. and I still see it today. Maybe it's just in the back of my mind. I will pull up to a Ferrari, a Honda, whatever. Everybody's always looking at that Jeep Wrangler. It is so Americana. Everybody know it. There's an attitude to it. There's a personality, lifestyle. I've always appreciated that. Always appreciated that. Something about a Jeep Wrangler, and I could go anywhere. If you guys have ever been a Jeep Wrangler, just put the top down. You're in the middle of. You're heading to Sturgis, a cross country trip, and that Jeep. Doors are off, everything's off. I've got the best panoramic view in the world. It's just very liberating. I think
it's one of Eddie Guerra's better questions, actually.
Yeah,
kind of says something about somebody.
It's technically not his question. Actually, I had to alter
it. So, guys, I just got off the road, 2 weeks in that Jeep. I put it on the train in Sanford. I just didn't want to drive up to DC. So I put on the train in Sanford, did the first event. As soon as I got off the train that evening, started driving down to Portsmouth, Virginia, cut across Lynchburg, went up to Canton, Ohio to do a huge event, then went up to Leanin' House Flying Cigars to do this 9/11 event there. Drove all the way back down Lynchburg, hit the Bristol, awesome little city. Then I started going down to hit Chattanooga, 75, stopped in Atlanta for 2 days, kicked it with some friends, shops and all that. Drove all the way down, got back, a day and a half ago. I was fun, and all in the Jeep. And everybody's always looking at me like, you're crazy. Like, guys, this is fun.
Paul,
this is so much fun.
Paul, what would your car be?
Well, first, I just want to say I used to have a friend and kind of like a business associate that was very wealthy. He was a broker, and he retired and lived in like a $10 million house in Lloyd Harbor on the Gold Coast of Long Island. And it's funny that you say that, because this guy could have any car in the world that he wanted, any car in the world. His wife, drove big fancy cars, and they had a few cars for their kids, but he drove like a 2002 Jeep Wrangler Sahara edition. And I used to say to him all the time, like, you could be driving in a Rolls, a Bentley, a sports car, like a Maserati, like what, you could pick any car in the world. It won't hurt the bank. He said he's the same thing. He fell in love with that Jeep like mentality. For me, I mean, I'm a car guy, but I'm not like a Matt Booth car guy. Like I like all the new stuff in.
We're gonna call this the KMA Stairway to Heaven episode. Answer the damn question.
I don't know. I don't know. I've always really loved Rolls Royces, but I guess I wouldn't be driving it.
Shocker.
I'd be driven in it.
Shocker.
But I've always loved Rolls Royces.
Guys, that SUV Rolls, I saw one the other day at the mall in Georgia, over in Buckhead, and I got to tell you, I was like, wow, this is a pretty vehicle. The only thing is, I was shocked at the size. A regular Rolls looks so huge, right? The SUV,
yeah,
so small, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. I was gonna say, but the new Jeeps.
That's kind of Stephanie's reaction. Mm-hmm. So small.
What about you, Alex? Moving on, Alex.
I don't know, man. I'm not really a car guy. I don't know.
I'm not a car guy. Listen, I've always been enamored with classic cars. Like, so I was gonna do a car. Like, if I was gonna say, I really wanted a car, do a car like the 65 Continental, like the suicide doors from Entourage. I love that kind of stuff. But I tell you what, man, I just always assume at this point I'm pretty much probably going to be a Cadillac guy for the rest of my life. But man, I saw that commercial for that electric Hummer, and that thing looks awesome. That's the first car I think I've ever saw that I said, wow. I actually kind of got a little excited about it. Just for shits and giggles. I put my name on the waiting list. But when it came out, but you
and our friend Jeff Borschwitz.
But at this rate, probably won't come out for another 5 years because they can't even make regular cars right now. But that was the first car I ever saw, and I don't know if it's the car itself or the genius marketing and the advertising, because the ad for that car was like badass. So, but I mean, I actually just to put my name on a waiting list to see just what it comes out at. But I just got excited when I saw it, man. kind of
I
cool.
would love a classic car like you, but like with all the modern features.
Then,
It's not a classic
then you don't have a classic car. You take away
I know
the
the outside though, like the look of a '57 Chevy is great, but I want like the lane keeping assist and blind spot monitoring.
Paul's the kind of guy that wants to
Cover your
go.
insurance.
Paul's the kind of guy that wants to go glamping instead of camping. Like he wants the butler and the toilet bowl and shower in the tent.
You know, so when Logan, funny you mentioned about cars and me just liking it, and you had asked, hold up, anything? So when Logan gets drafted, his big bonus, the whole bit, right? He goes, hey, look, I was thinking if I get you and mom a car, so if I get mom a car and her car, he's got deep voicing. He goes, what do you want? And I go, Logan, just get me a Jeep. And he looked at me, really? That's all you want? Not a Lexus, not a Mercedes. I'm like, no, I hate Mercedes. Just give me a Jeep.
For those that don't know, Logan, his son is in the NFL. He plays for Washington.
Boom. But
Look
really,
at that.
yeah.
Nice.
He's having a good season already. Look, I mean, having a good season.
Does he get you tickets to the games?
Dude, let me tell you, I don't even have time to go to the games, but I learned his first 2 years, forget it. Though, oh my gosh, it's more than a full-time job. Here, there every week, and you're trying to be a good man. You're trying to make the games, and then you realize tickets are $400, $600, $700, and you're like, this is stupid. Okay, screw this. We're good. And then, of course, he comes back on chartered planes. Okay, with the team. We're waiting right there in Denver. Waiting. Storm comes. Okay. All right. Here we go. A day and a half later. I'm like, no, that's a lot of work. So if he comes to Atlanta, Jacksonville, Tampa, or Miami, I'll go to the games if I'm traveling. I wanted to make the season opener this past weekend, but couldn't. So I was just on the road. He's got a job. I got a job.
You could always watch it on TV. I mean,
and I did. You know, so I was still in Atlanta, and Don Williams, AJ Fernandez for the Southeast. I get a text because I'm leaving Atlanta late, and he goes, "I see a text. You're gonna miss the game." I'm like, no, I've got NFL Game Day Pass. I just listen to it while I'm driving. But in college, okay, Abe, you know, it's interesting. You said, and you remember the growth and all of Tarazona Cigars. The one thing, and this is not, I love it. I have no regrets about this. I was able to make, that was another thing. I wanted to make all of Logan's games in college. And I only missed two, the Wake Forest game and the Georgia Tech game.
Oh, wow.
And both of them were due to events. The Wake Forest game is when he called his first touchdown at Virginia Tech. And everybody said, I'm getting texts. Everybody's just going crazy. Hey, Logan called a touchdown. And it's funny because he was quarterback, but I guess they put him in as an H-back to do this play. And then the Georgia Tech game, because I had promised Dave in Knoxville, Tennessee, we had already had an event scheduled almost a year in advance. Virginia Tech changed the schedule because of the TV, a Thursday night game. And so he put a big old television right there in the middle of the shop outside the lounge so I could watch it. And so those were the only two games I missed of Lowe's in while he was in college at Virginia Tech. But
wow.
Is it, you support your kids. Kids are kids, doesn't matter what they do. And so I'm proud of them.
That's great.
Proud of my kids.
It's that time to bring on the guy who actually probably contributes the most to KMA Talk Radio, the Scoop with Coop. Let's see what Scoop.
Hey, yo, what's my theme music?
The Scoop with Coop. Breaking industry news. Hear it first on KMA Talk Radio and cigar-coop.com.
A man who needs no introduction here. Once again, Mr. William Cooper Coop. Welcome to KMA.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Eddie.
Coop. Good morning, Coop. How's it going?
Good.
Coop, what do you have for us? I hope you have a lot of news. What do you have?
We do. We actually do this week. This was a very, very busy news week. I'm going to kick it off because there was some news that broke overnight.
Hey, Coop, do me a favor.
Yeah.
Take your monitor. I keep telling Paul to tell us, tilt it down a little bit so the red banner's not across your face.
Okay.
Get your head a little higher in the screen if you can.
Okay.
He's got to like stand up to do it.
There you
Oh,
go.
there you go.
There you go. Now we can see it.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Much better.
Thank you, guys. All right. So there was some news that broke overnight, and if you kind of work on the media end of things,
Are you going to talk about Franz Blah?
what?
Oh, that came out overnight. I didn't hear nothing about it. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm interrupting.
No. So there's a website called Ministry of Cigars. You might not have heard of it, but Ministry of Cigars is a website that served, I'd say, the international community in terms of cigar news and cigar content. Not necessarily with a Cuban slant, but with more of a non-Cuban slant in a lot of ways. The site was shut down. And the site was shut down, and it's kind of a concerning thing why this site was shut down. The guy who owns the site, his name is Ferdinand Pete. He's based in Singapore. And what happened was, I guess there were some agents that came by from like the Ministry of Health or whatever, and they basically said, hey, you're doing illegal advertising on your website. And he's like, I'm not doing advertising. And he's like, and they're like, yeah, yes, you are. And I guess there were some hearings that were held afterwards, and it was determined that basically any type of content he was putting on his website was being classified as advertising. So if he put like a cigar review up, if he reported on a cigar, if he put a picture of a cigar, if he wished someone happy birthday in the cigar industry, which is his site was known to do that was all considered advertising. And basically they are telling him he's got to shut the site down. He's got to shut his social media content down, and he may be getting a substantial fine on top of all this.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, So, we're looking at this, and, guys like us in the media are like, well, you never know where that's going to happen in other countries. So, and how they make this advertising definition right now. So it's kind of a big story for a lot of us. And like I said, it was pretty shocking when I saw this last night come up.
I didn't hear about that at all.
This was very late. This was probably like after 1 a.m. is when I found out.
Yeah, it was about 2-something in the morning. They tagged us in it, and I was like,
yeah.
Of course, no one means.
That's time to move.
Coop, what I was wondering, I wanted to post it, but I know Ferdinand isn't. Ferdinand a little bit that he's not a combative person, and that's okay.
Right.
But if it was me, I'm over here thinking, you know what I would have done? I would have written the articles, sent them to somebody abroad, okay, and let them publish it from outside, and have the site registered from outside.
So he said basically he looked at registering the site outside, right? And I guess that would violate the law as well. Now, I don't know if
as him as a Singapore, with him living there. But if they're writing it and he's saying, here you go, and he's contributing out there, well, they can do whatever they want in their jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Eddie.
That's probably one. Because I said, you know what? If I ever had like an open slot on Coop, I'm like, he can certainly contribute. But now he's kind of under the radar, basically.
I'm pretty sure the Singapore government will interpret their law pretty much any way they want to.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. They'll it's however they interpret it. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the irony is, I guess his Facebook post, and Eddie, you may have saw this too, kind of said someone ratted him out, like for whatever reason. They kind of put the government onto him. Yeah.
That burned me up right there. Man.
Yeah, I mean, Ferdinand's a good guy. I've known him for a while. I've gotten to know him for a while. And like I said, he definitely had his following outside the U.S. Like his site was very, very unique. Like if you wanted to know a cigar that was being released for Belgium or something like that, Ferdinand was the site you went to. So he was building a very nice following, and this is a big loss, I think, for the industry to have a site like this only there.
Have you had a chance to talk with him, Coop?
Not yet. Not yet.
Yeah. See if you can find stuff out. I mean, at this point, I'm wondering if he's contemplating just leaving the country.
He's got he does work in the industry. He's on the wholesale and importing distribution. So he does have a job in the industry. He's not going to be totally out of it.
Right.
But as far as like his days of cigar media, they're probably over. I don't think he's planning on. I'm going to talk to him. I don't think he's planning on leaving the country. He's also originally from Europe. He's not a native of Singapore.
Really? With a name like Ferdinand Pete, I would have never guessed.
No, he's from the Netherlands.
Yeah, he's from the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What else you got going on,
Return
Coop?
home a few.
So if you've been waiting for Ferio Tego to get some cigars into the market, they're shipping their first 2 releases. It's not the Ferio Tego Limiteds that are shipping first. It's going to be 2 of the former brands under the Nat Sherman line, which are the Timeless Sterling and the Timeless Prestige. So those 2 cigars are making it back to market, and now Ferio Tego has got some stuff on the shelves right now. So that's good news if
Go
you
on,
are.
Mikey.
Yep,
Go on,
if you're
Mikey.
fans of that. Yep. So it's got to be a big step for Mike. I know he's been waiting for a while to, obviously get something into the market. So now he's got something there, and they're starting to move forward.
And he graciously changed the packaging slightly, so now all of my old packaging doesn't look right.
Yeah.
Gotta love retail.
It's always the case, right?
What else you got going on, Coop?
All right. So Drew Estate this week, they were hyping their big live stream on Thursday. They've been doing these quarterly live streams, and they get the whole gang at Drew Estate. They did drop a product announcement on Thursday, and that is they have a new size to their Leather Rose line. It's a Petite Corona, and it measures 4x43. And Leather Rose is part of that Deadwood series, which really has taken off for Drew Estate as far as, those types of cigars. I remember those were originally exclusives for South Carolina, but they now really have kind of taken a life of their own. And expect to see that in October. We should start seeing those Petite Coronas hit just in time for the winter months.
Yeah, that Deadwood tobacco has really blown up in the last 3 years. I mean, 4 years, just gotten out there, and very interesting how that whole thing developed. But we got brought in like the whole line for the warehouse, so we're kind of excited to put it out there when we're ready to open.
Probably one of the top news stories I ever wrote on Coop, like that got traffic wise, was when they made Deadwood tobacco go national. Those Deadwood, they get a following, people are searching for them, and they want to read about it. So it does get a lot of traffic, that brand.
Yeah.
So that's, like I said, whether you're a Leather Rose or a Deadwood fan or not, it's a big line in the market right now.
And I see it continuing to grow.
Yeah. I mean, I think last year Leather Rose became the 4th blend under that line. It was released in a Torpedo last year, so this is the 2nd size. And like I said, the retailers I know are turning that cigar very quickly.
Oh, faster than they can ship it. Let's put it that way.
Yep.
What else you got going on, Coop?
This one probably everyone heard this week. I'll put more as a reminder because I think everyone saw it. So I think everyone saw that there is the Build Back Better Act being thrown around in Congress right now. It's this human infrastructure plan that basically is part of Biden's agenda, President Biden's agenda. And basically, there's a whole bunch of things in this infrastructure plan that have to be paid for. So the politician in Washington came up with a brilliant idea. They said, hey, let's tax tobacco, right? And we can raise $96 billion. So there is language in there that will have some significant tax increase proposals. The one that I think is being noted is 1,000% tax increase on premium cigars and 2,100% tax increase on pipe tobacco. So,
21. I mean, listen, who comes up with these numbers? 2,100. Anytime out there someone bitches about somebody smoking, we just remind them that all your freaking infrastructure is built on taxation on our product.
All I can say is thank God for Joe Manchin.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, the bill's not going to pass, most likely. It's looking like this $3.5 trillion bill. And, that's the one key Democrat who just says, no way, we're not spending that kind of money. So,
yep. Yeah, he's actually been one, like I said, he's one that we've been able to count on.
Right.
So, yeah, that's going on.
So basically, he's a legitimate guy who hasn't been part of the slush fund yet. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one guy saying, "Look, 3.5 ain't it. There's no way. I'm not signing on for a 3.5."
Be some pragmatism from that senator. I'll take it.
What else you got, Coop?
Okay, last thing just to know is La Gloria Cubana has another release coming out. That is one of the brands that used to be under General. It's now under Ford Cigar Company. The cigar's called Criollo de Oro. And what that is, it's a
Say that 3 times fast.
absolutely not. Criollo de Oro. But I'm not gonna say it fast. So that's gonna be a limited release coming from Ford's. What folks may want to know is it's the wrapper is a hybrid wrapper of Criollo and Pelo de Oro, and that's gonna start hitting the stores next month, and you'll be able to get it in a Churchill size and a Churchill size and a Toro size. So stay tuned for that.
I'm actually a little bit disappointed, Coop.
I was waiting for this.
There's 2 big news stories, which I thought you'd cover, but you didn't, so I'm going to have to bring them up.
Okay.
One we should acknowledge, and one I want to talk about.
Yep.
You may have not heard. I saw it on the car ride home last night. I was a little bit shocked, but Robert Franz Blah passed away last night.
So I didn't know that. I did not know that. No, I'm gonna be honest. I did not know that.
When you were talking about something happening yesterday, I thought you were going to bring that up, not the cigars, but Robert took over Thompson Cigar, which was a failing cigar company in the 60s, I believe, was really the first mail order guy in this business. 93 years old. He passed away in his home in Tampa yesterday morning, man. I had the pleasure of meeting him a couple times in the industry. Literally ran one of the biggest mail order companies in the country. Very well known, and he finally passed away at the ripe old age of 93, at least. So
I'm looking at this right now. If Aficionado had this, so I did not have this, guys. I'm gonna be honest with you. No, wow, that's a big story.
Yeah, I mean, he sold the company and he was out, but I mean, a huge contributor to what forged the way of the cigar industry, and a big, a definite icon of our industry. Yeah, so. We our sympathies to the family, and obviously it's a huge loss.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for telling me that.
The other thing, which I think we can all have an open debate about, is the La Aurora news story.
That wasn't news. That's been out for months. That story.
I heard about it. About it just when they made the press release.
Yeah, the one I didn't get, by the way. I want to thank everyone. I did not get that press release.
Is that why you didn't bring it up? Was it a spiteful?
No, actually, no. That's not. The story's been out there the site's been out there for months. I've been talking to people about it. So
I wish I had known before the trade show.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So, let's talk about that. So, for folks who don't know,
what is the news? Go ahead.
No, so La Aurora a few months ago set up a B2C site. And what that means is, as a consumer, you can just order cigars directly from La Aurora.
So La Aurora, Miami Cigars announced at some point last year that they would no longer be doing distribution for La Aurora cigars.
Well, that's not true. No, that's not true. They're still distributing. They're still.
Hold on.
But there was an announcement that they weren't.
There was an announcement that I got the letterhead. Maybe they didn't publicly make the announcement, but that La Aurora was going to be leaving Miami Cigar Company. That was definitely announced.
I think we talked about it on the show.
Yeah. It was announced. Listen, whether it was announced nationally or whatever, but the internal memo went through. So we knew that La Aurora was leaving. We didn't know where. And this was supposed to be effective, I think, like last September. And then it never happened. October, something like that. And then it never happened, which we found very odd. And I guess they couldn't find a new distribution home. And then at some point this year, I guess they went to B2C. Now, as soon as I read the article, I called up my Miami Cigar people, and I just placed a huge trade show order for the warehouse, and I'm sending back all my La Aurora product. And it's really funny. I'm curious, and I really would have loved to have a couple other retailers on the show to talk about this, because everybody's saying, well, why would you do that? So-and-so sells direct and so-and-so. I said, well, look, here's the reality of the situation. Okay. I don't see a successful business model where I don't have a relationship with Altadis. And you have to remember, Altadis didn't start out, they didn't make a decision to go, hey, we're going to sell directly to consumers. They acquired JR, right? And, kind of same thing with General. And, I can't see a successful business model without carrying Davidoff brands. and Davidoff really does such a poor job, in my opinion, as far as anyway. I don't even consider them selling directly to the consumer. But we don't need La Aurora. And if La Aurora, and it's not a spiteful move, but if they want to sell directly to consumers, by all means, go ahead. But as retailers, at some point, we need to. I can't just think as retailers we could just let these guys start doing this, because otherwise, what are we around for? What are you having us around for?
Right.
If that's what you feel your model is, you want to become a retailer, which is what now La Aurora, in my opinion, has effectively become a retailer. So we're actually packing up all our stuff. We're going to send it back to them and let them sell directly to the consumers. Let them do what they want to do. There's no reason I need to build up or work up a brand or get a brand known or give it exposure for them to sell directly to the consumer. So that's our
Do they
stance.
see themselves as becoming direct competition to you when they do that? Like,
No.
is that not?
They don't think about that.
No, listen. They're European number crunchers. You know, they look at the margin, how much more margin they could make. They probably feel that they haven't had good representation from Miami. And this is just now. I'm just talking out of my ass. Yeah, this is nothing that I know for fact.
All right, your theory.
Yeah, I think that they probably felt that they're not getting a good distribution. Deals are hard. I mean, the ones that have really endured, it's really amazing. I think like Drew Estate and Hoyo is probably one of the best relationships I've ever seen work that way. But they're very hard because somebody always feels like they're not getting the fair representation, which I'm sure probably La Aurora did. And I bet you that nobody was lining up to pick up that brand for distribution or work with them on a distribution deal. Mm-hmm. And they just figured, look, we could sell to consumers and our margin becomes X amount more. It's just a simple out.
So Abe, just to go timeline thing, okay? Because back when, and Willie Morante mentioned, who's working for Eddie right now. Willie Morante went over to La Aurora at the beginning of the year, and we had already known that this website was already out there. I think they were at least testing. We knew it was out there, and our assumption was that Willie Morante was going over there to basically be the ambassador for La Aurora, so they had someone boots on the ground, and they were going to go to this model, and then obviously Willie's not there anymore. So, but from what I understand, Abe, this site was not because they couldn't get distribution. This was a strategic move that was made a while ago. That they made.
It could be.
Yeah. That's from what I understand. Yeah. But you even said it, Abe. You took a trade show order from Miami for cigar, right? At the La Aurora order at the show. But if they sent you a letter months ago, that's what I'm saying. I don't think there was a letter sent months ago. They was still
No. Listen to me. The letter was sent. Listen to me. You misunderstood me.
Okay.
There was an announcement made last year that Miami Cigar will no longer be the distributor of La Aurora cigars. Not that La Aurora was going to go online.
Yeah.
Not that, they just said that as effective as this date, we will no longer be taking orders for La Aurora.
Take that down, Paul. We don't want his input.
No, I think there's something incorrect about that, but okay.
No. I assure you, there's absolutely nothing incorrect about that because I had extensive conversations with Hector Paz once I saw that letter.
Okay.
And I asked him if they knew who'd be doing it. They weren't sure yet. And then he even made suggestions of that, things might still get worked out because the date that we got, because they're basically informing us, Coop, that we couldn't give them their order anymore for the La Aurora.
Mm-hmm. So they're telling us they went back, and then I thought they went back and said, "We're taking orders." That's what I was wondering.
Well, that's what I was telling you.
Yeah.
That date passed, and they were still taking orders for La Aurora.
Right.
So after my talks with them, they're like, well, nothing's been finalized. Maybe things might still work out, but there was nothing on the table. And then the next thing I see is the press release this week saying that
either way
it
creates a predicament. That's all I gotta say.
Look, it's a blurred line. It's a blurred line that has existed for many, many years.
Right.
And we have to deal with. And listen, to the defensive general, to the defensive all to this, right? That while they do have a division of their business that sells directly to consumers, right, and would technically be my competition, these companies also contribute a lot to me running my business.
Right.
So they spend a lot of money and do stuff that help me grow my business. At the same token, La Aurora is kind of non-existent, as far as
it's not just their product that they're selling on those websites. They're still selling.
Listen, it's a separate division that's been acquired, but at the end of the day, they own it and they're taking the competition. But there's still a benefit of working with these guys, other than having brands that consumers want. They actually help us as retailers and are very supportive to my business. So for La Aurora, look, it's a model that is very tempting, but I'm going to tell you something. If more retailers do like me, because what they don't understand is the value of the advertising of that product being on retailers' shelves and making it vibrant and tangible and seeing it. And I think if more retailers do what I do and just say, look, I have no animosity, but you want to be in retail, here you go. Take your product back, go sell it to the consumers directly. I think that would be the beginning of the end for that brand.
As a former retailer, I like the perspective I get as a manufacturer now. You guys, some of y'all seen Coop, you've seen it. I always, with our little logo, support your local tobacconist. I get more out of the ground game. And not saying, some of these folks, they sell their stuff online and all, that's great. But it'll always be that brick and mortar for me. But I'm speaking as a former tobacconist that had my own shop, that there are some places that need it. There are a lot of places that need it.
Yep.
That's just me. I'm not gonna weigh in on that, even though if it was me, I just wouldn't. For me, that's so cringeworthy. Okay. Well, that's because Abe, you're right. Why should I? You're asking. Okay, all these folks invest in us, but guess what? Backweight. So, as you said, it's stuff, but yeah, brick and mortars.
I mean,
you got to.
Coop, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is a unprecedented situation. I don't think there's ever been a company the size or the tenure of La Aurora that has decided to make a move like this.
Davidoff.
Okay, true. You're right.
Davidoff
but the different.
But yeah, this is probably. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, Davidoff was a little bit blurred because they already had retail stores, and the original their retail stores had a website.
Yes,
selling their product, and again, once I say Davidoff, as far as I'm concerned, they should just close their website down because it just makes them look bad, and I can't believe it's worth their effort.
Right. But you're right. You're looking at a company this is the oldest factory in the Dominican Republic.
Literally.
Yeah. I mean, look, La Aurora is a brand that's had some very iconic cigars in the last 25 years as well. So again, there's a lot of, it's not like this is a newer company. Like there's some other companies that are newer that have done it, but not to this level. So it's interesting. I don't know what this is, how this is going to, I mean, obviously we're already seeing some blowback on it, but yeah, it was like the worst kept secret out there, Abe. It's been going around for months since this thing was out there.
I wish I knew before the trade show. I didn't know.
Strategically.
Well, here's the thing. There was some confusion even with that because the products that La Aurora brought to the trade show were like very limited products that they brought. Like these were like 300 boxes of these cigars.
Listen, they had a huge deal. I mean, no wonder. Wonder why they had such a nice deal at the trade show.
On the core stuff, yes.
Yeah, no wonder.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So yeah, look, I hope other retailers are savvy enough to understand the ramifications of something like this, because if you let this go unchecked and more listen, forget about it. La Aurora is huge, right? But you know how attractive and practical this is for a lot of mid-level companies? This model, right? And if you just let it go unchecked, you're digging your own grave. You're digging your own grave as far as being a retailer anymore.
Very true.
Hey, Abe, that real estate location that you have with them, you know what? I got you, bro. I got you. Don't you worry.
This guy's like the guy next to Jesus on the cross at the right place at the right time.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
But no, I mean, seriously, I unfortunately, sometimes, and I don't mean this in a bad way, I just don't think that retailers, a lot of them in our industry, are really farsighted enough to understand the depths of certain decisions and moves. And this isn't a small thing, because you're not going to see certain companies go direct because they're doing well and there's no reason to rock the boat. But a lot of these guys who are mid-level, I mean, listen, if you're one of these guys, whether you're a Skip Martin size or a Steve Socket size, whatever, and you're churning and you're burning and you're doing all this work and trying to get your market share and you fight, and then you look at, hey, look, these retailers I sell to sell it for X dollars. Man, if I can make that kind of money and retain a certain X percentage of my business, granted, he's got to start shipping and doing stuff, but they're doing that anyway to retailers. It's a really bad scenario. So unless retailers are savvy enough to understand this and say, look, if you're going to sell directly, we just don't want to carry your product. This could become a bigger problem than people anticipate.
But at the end of the day, even if companies do that, it's still a numbers game. Your numbers still end up. You still have to. I don't care how you look at it. I always look at things. It's a numbers game in anything you do. If they make this decision, eventually, will they still be in the same position about now? They're losing. You lose customers.
But Eddie, a lot of people don't. No, I get it. But a lot of people don't interpret the numbers right because all they see is the number that says I make this much a box instead of this much a box. They don't realize that, hey, if my sales go from X to X, it doesn't matter. I'm making more box. We're going to make a lot less money. That they don't have that vision.
Yeah, and that's the thing for me. It's a numbers game. So I go out, all these shops, and I got to be honest with you. Look at all the shops all across the country, all these A&Ms. Okay, it's a lot of shops. Okay, internet. Now you have no representation. Nobody really out. I mean, your marketing game. I guess I don't know. I'm not going to speak for them, but it still comes down to a numbers game for me. You're going to find yourself in the same place that you were trying to get away from. Now, thinking you're saving money, are you really? That's up for everybody to decide. But I've always seen it as
I'll be interested to see what happens in 2-3 years with that brand.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now it's time for basically the last episode of season 2 of Tail of the Tape, the Pro Wrestler edition. Let's run it.
All right, here we go. Tail of the Tape, Season 2, top wrestlers of all time. Coming in at number 1, the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, Ric Flair. And listen, I mean, Flair can make it on promos alone for me. Honestly, he's still a guy today that if I see him on a commercial, I stop and I want to watch what he does. But also, he's the guy that was, even to this day, is still putting younger wrestlers and guys on. Go ahead, Coop.
Yeah, I mean, we it's funny. We got to the same point. Ric Flair is number 1 on mine. So we came different ways, but in the end, we got the same wrestler. Look, when you look at Flair's career from like 1981 to 1987, say we want wrestling being scripted or whatever, this guy was in some of the most iconic matches. He was fighting these marathon long matches over an hour, which is unheard of today, right? 2 out of 3 falls. Unfortunately, the late part of his career was not as stellar, but that career in the 80s was enough to put him over the top. And then you mentioned the promos alone. This is a guy who, just like I said, he's people still love him. Look, when I moved to Charlotte, he had just retired. There was a billboard put on a highway from the city thanking him. Okay,
right.
This is how big he was.
Right.
So he's an icon in this city. I also have a friend who used to live in the same apartment building as him, which was kind of an interesting thing. Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, this is a guy I'll still, if I see him on a commercial, I'll stop and watch the commercial. I want to,
You will. You absolutely will. But the guy could wrestle too. The guy could really wrestle. That was the other thing.
Look at that.
Well, there you have it.
So, season 1, season 2, we both. I mean, season 1, I think we went 3-2-1.
Yeah,
the same. But number 1 here again, same.
Yeah,
I think it'd be. I think in this season it was a lot more harder to have come up maybe with number 1 being the same than it was Boxers, because boxers was a lot of technical. Boxers was a lot of technical data. This was a little bit more opinionated. So,
well, cool.
yeah.
All right. So while we're here, we got a little bit of time. Coop, I know everybody wants your explanation as to why Hogan isn't anywhere on your list.
I was going to ask that myself.
Yeah, a lot of people have mentioned it.
He wasn't a good wrestler. It was his wrestling was more comic book. It was more. He was an awful wrestler. He was more of a comic book character. Look, I understand what he did for the industry. If you want to say contributions for the industry, but I was still looking at wrestling. He was an awful wrestler. I mean, that thing where he would be in trouble and then they'd start hitting him and he'd start rising up and like getting his strength back. I mean, come on, that is out of a comic book, okay?
All right.
But
that's what made it great. My favorite's like when they got it like on his head and then his arm would just slowly start, and then all of a sudden he'd be able to stand up while the guy's hand was still on his head.
Also, real quick address, and I feel like Coop probably feels the same way. To me, Andre the Giant was a sideshow.
He was a sideshow, and then later in his career they gave him kind of that chance to have a belt, and they did it crappy. I mean, this idea of like him selling the belt was just stupid, right? Put the belt on him for a month or so if they wanted to do that. It was always a sideshow with Andre the Giant.
No Roddy Piper,
Roddy,
funny.
Roddy
Not a championship, so
I mean,
I don't
they're
know.
on the cusp.
Funny, I don't know.
Hey,
If
Dan
many of you
Marino
guys
won a Super Bowl, and he's one of the best quarterbacks. I mean, come on.
Fair.
I don't know if you guys know this or not, but you know that Rodney Piper and Ric Flair were very, very close.
They did. Yeah, they did
There
this
was a-
show. They
there
did
was
that
a
show
great-
together.
Yeah, they did that wife shopping show, but
Yep.
there was a documentary either on 60 Minutes or probably Real Sports, because my wife loves that show and makes me watch episodes, about how close they were. And it was really funny because Piper actually lived a very healthy lifestyle and was a very like tame guy. And he was always concerned about Rick because Rick was a party animal and still living like a rock star. And, ironically enough, Rodney's a guy who passed away first. And
Rick's still here doing commercials.
Yeah. But yeah, they were close.
Everything else.
Yeah, I mean, Rick, I'll tell you something. Rick does. I mean, he's very well known in Charlotte. He does like the party. As far as him, having all the money, he wasn't smart with it.
He froze.
Tell him on that.
Oh, he wasn't smart with his money. You were saying, Coop,
He wasn't smart with his money at all.
I'm just surprised I don't see like Macho Man and Mick Foley. And
Listen, here's my thing with Macho Man. Robin doesn't make top 10 lists, and he was just Robin the Hulk Hogan.
He was Robin, and he really didn't have a great run as a champion.
Hold on, what do you mean by Robin?
Batman.
I mean, Hulk Hogan and Macho Man was like
Okay.
Batman and Robin.
Okay, all right.
You can't. Robin doesn't make the top 10 list.
What an analogy.
There was a point. There was a point where the WWF said you're going to be the champion, and he didn't. He did not carry the promotion, and it was 2 times they gave him that opportunity, and he couldn't carry the promotion like Hulk Hogan was able to carry the promotion.
What's your argument for Mick Foley not being on there?
I don't. He's just
Close.
I think there were 10 guys better than him.
Yeah, if it was a 20 list, he's probably in there.
He's on there. Yeah.
What's your problem with
I
the
don't
shape?
like guys I don't like guys who switch characters a lot either. So I like Ric Flair had his character his whole career. Hogan maybe did one switch, right? But I don't like Mick Foley had too many characters too, so it's always hard to tell, which face of Mick Foley you were looking at.
Hogan just did the evil thing, the good and evil thing. That was all that.
He did that.
That was it.
Yeah.
All right. Now I'm sure what everybody's been waiting for. All right. Next week starts season 3 of Tale of the Tape. Let's run a teaser of what season 3 is. Wait, hold on, before we run it.
Why don't we just tell them?
No, don't tell them.
No, we have a whole we have a video.
I'm just curious. I want to see some comments on what you think we're covering on season 3 of Tale of Tape, guys. Let's see some comments here because it might give us some good ideas for season 4, 5, and 6.
In a world,
you gotta give it a minute.
Best tag team wrestling. That's a repeat, Charlie. Get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Best tag team.
Yeah, that's
wrestling.
not the same.
That's like best doubles tennis team. Who cares?
I encourage guys to put your list together for season 3 this week, so we can compare.
Oh, there you go.
NASCAR.
NASCAR. I'm sure Alex knows a lot about that.
Oh yeah,
Football teams. Doesn't matter what.
Wow.
Thanks, Chris.
Football teams.
Yeah.
Best stand-up comedians. That would be interesting.
That would be a good one. Yeah,
That would be a good one. That would be a good one. See how we fish for new ideas.
Right.
That's awesome. I need that.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes. All right. Let's run
Run
the
it.
teaser and see what it is.
All right, here we go.
Like the bullets down there. There you go.
It's awesome.
Who leaked it to Alan Rubin? Because I saw his comment.
Probably,
I think we talked.
Probably
about
Alex in a whereby chat.
There's no way Alan figured that out of left field.
No.
Alex,
I think we played with it.
Okay.
Alex, if
Play
the
with
Irish
the idea
shows
on
up
the
on that list, are you gonna flip?
There's no chance Coop will put the Irishman on there.
Alan Rubin.
That might have gave it away. My background might have
I
given it
called it correctly.
I had a friend who did a mob movie.
For the record, I got to make another one of those avatars with him now. I knew they were going to do Tale of the Tape season 3. All right, listen. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Eddie, thanks for coming on. Coop, as always, the best.
Thank you, guys.
We hope you had a fun Saturday morning with us once again. Catch us next week as we have another first timer. We're pulling a lot of first timers off out of our hats. Ram Rodriguez, president of El Artista Cigars. If you don't know this company, you will after next week. These guys are making some good products, and it should be a very interesting show. Until then, everybody, keep it lit.